With stability in mind, we'll warm up the large muscles of the lap today, kind of with knee stability in mind. We'll activate the quad muscles and find length in the IT bands, and also begin to activate the core and everything that works together to make us mobile beings, and practice that mobility with intention and structure. So do with that what you will. I invite you to pay attention to the structure of your breath, maybe noticing as your belly becomes soft on an inhale. Maybe your rib cage becomes full. And you might find a soft transition, maybe noticing your body's weight as you exhale. Maybe allowing your shoulders to soften towards the floor. You might do that again, inviting in another complete breath in and out. Just noticing the sensations and sounds and colors, maybe even aromas available to your senses as you notice what right now feels like. This is yoga. Choose to stay right where you are if this is what works for you right now. You're welcome to join me on your back as it's comfortable to do so. I'll invite you to bend your knees and place both footprints on the floor, preparing to warm up those strong leg muscles, as I mentioned. Take just a moment to settle in, noticing the transition from upright to lying flat. Notice the sensation of flatness and support underneath your spine. You might choose to walk your footprints near or far, close to your seat. Find a sense of firm and connection there. You might choose to drive your arms into the mat as well. Notice that you can create these connection points, and maybe use your breath as you choose to lift your hips away from the mat any amount for bridge pose. Moving with your breath, you might melt your spine down towards the floor. Reconnect and inhale to lift again, moving with your breath for 3 to 5 cycles here. These might be small movements, maybe growing a little more each time. It's up to you. Let your body take its own shape. It might look different from mine. The backs of your legs have some feedback. It could feel nice to lift your toes away from the mat and really dig your heels in as you lift those hips. Continuing to breathe each time you lift. And exhale as you lower, setting your hips down last. When you feel complete with your bridge pose, you might choose to look left and right, creating soft rotation in the neck and cervical spine. As you're ready, an inhale might lift one foot to reach towards the sky, finding length as you extend that heel long overhead. Driving the grounded foot into the mat for support, choose to lengthen that other extended leg out over the mat any amount. It can hover a couple feet above the mat, or maybe you work your way toward a couple of inches above the mat. An inhale might glue your whole spine to the mat, lifting your leg and returning it to neutral. Let's try that on the other side. Pressing one footprint into the mat as the other lifts towards the sky, and exhaling to lower with strength to a height of your choice. Now we'll switch sides one more time and choose to repeat, maybe 5 or 10 times, activating the long lifted leg as though standing. Notice your breath. You might notice as well the connections to the earth under your foot, under your hips, your spine, shoulders, and head. Maybe even connecting your elbows to the mat. And flexing those toes towards your face as you lengthen this long, strong leg towards the sky and towards the mat. And this is my cat Liam. When you're ready to switch sides, allow that footprint to find the floor as the other floats towards the sky. Deep breath in before lowering with your breath. Maybe 5 or 10 cycles on this side, still flexing your toes towards your face as you choose to lengthen your whole leg to hover above the mat. Noticing the activation of the strong quad muscles and the whole thigh, the length of the back of the leg as you reach out with your heel, the soft and smooth cadence of your breath connecting each set of movements. Nice. As you're ready to change sides once more, we'll do the same thing, but this time, as we extend the leg overhead, we'll rotate the toes outward. Maybe if you're lifting your right foot like I am, maybe towards 2 o'clock, or it might be 10 o'clock on your left. Not a point of perfection, just notice what it's like to rotate your foot out and kind of hold that activation as you still lengthen and lower the whole foot. So keeping the foot rotated outward might feel kind of crooked. Can you still choose to move with intention? You might limit your range of motion as you're changing the type of motion you're making. We'll take several cycles on this side and then change sides again. And you don't have to lift all the way up to the sky. Maybe you choose to just lift your leg to the same height as your other bent knee. Bring your breath along as you ground both feet. Extend the other footprint out and rotate those toes outward as you choose to lengthen and hover the whole leg above the mat at any height. Choosing a range of motion that is accessible, that you feel successful doing. There's no right or wrong here. These might be really tiny movements. They might happen up high or down low, maybe fast, maybe slow. Can you find your breath as you complete this cycle on this side? Notice flatness again and maybe choose to windshield wiper your shins left and right, creating soft rotation in your lumbar, gluing your rib cage to the mat. And allow your knees to float over to one side, maybe rolling onto the side of your rib cage as you use an arm or a block or anything of your choice, like a pillow. We'll allow the grounded leg to stay bent, creating a kind of tripod of support. And I like to bring one hand to kind of my hip or my waist or the space right between as I extend the top leg to hover as though standing again, out over the mat, out over my other bent leg underneath. And from here, we'll choose to do some side leg lifts, still flexing the toes toward the face to activate all the muscles in the whole leg like a strong tree trunk. And the reason I place my hand on my hip is so that I can have some feedback and notice if this movement is coming from my hip and the glute muscles that support on the back of the hip here, or if my waist is doing extra work, which is not the intended benefit. So this is just a point of feedback to remind my hip that that's where I would like the work to come from. So just notice how this feels for you. Might notice some warmth on the outside of your IT band, the outside of your thigh. So you lengthen and lift that foot, the pinky edge of your foot towards the sky, and then the inner arch towards the mat. And when you feel complete, you might allow your leg to rest on top of the other for a breath or two. And prepare to change sides. That might mean just rolling over to your other side or flopping over almost like a metronome on your mat, depending on the space you're in. So set yourself up for comfort and success as you prepare to explore the other side. All right, as you feel stable with your bent leg underneath, connected to the earth, the top leg might extend long to hover over the mat. Maybe moving with your breath. An inhale might lift the foot towards the sky and lower as though through mud to bring it towards the floor. Moving with your breath, noticing where you create warmth, activation, any sensations of feedback in this strong leg. Tuning in to the sound of your breath again and again, noticing as your thoughts go elsewhere, protecting your mind from any challenge that comes with this movement. When you feel complete, choose to let that leg rest. Notice the weight of your body and any sense of readiness for what comes next. You might notice the texture of the mat underneath your handprint and choose to roll onto your back. From here, we'll prepare for a little abdominal warm up that also combines some bilateral activation, some left and right brain working together to both soothe the nervous system and bring all the systems online for coordination. So make this yours, opt out for anything that doesn't feel right to you today. I invite you to leave one foot on the mat as you lift the other, bending at the knee. It might feel nice to interlace the hands behind your head, maybe taking elbows wide. From here, we'll bring the opposite elbow towards the lifted knee, peeling that side of the rib cage off the mat, the shoulder blade with it. Nice. From here, option to lift the other leg to extend and hover out over the mat at any height. And from here, we'll switch, maybe on an exhale, moving slowly as we learn the movements and begin to create intention around them. Finding a point to inhale between cycles and exhale into effort. Kind of switching, bringing the right elbow to meet the left knee, and the right knee to reach toward the left elbow. And this might look like kicking your feet up towards the ceiling, up to you. Or maybe you work your way out and down with your footprints, choosing to move slow or fast, as long as you remember to breathe. Notice the warmth around your belly and spine. Notice the points of the mat that are supporting underneath you, where your back connects to the earth. And choose to be finished when you're finished. You don't have to wait for me. You can also go longer than I do. Up to you. Choose when you're ready to find stillness and invite 3 nourishing breaths wherever you are. Nice work. Choose to bring your breath along for sun salutations, which will create warmth in the body as we continue to move. The way we'll bring the breath along is with ujjayi breath, which is a kind of staple practice in many yoga class settings. To practice ujjayi breath, I invite you to simply hug your breath on the inhale and exhale, almost like a whisper or a sigh. You might think about cleaning sunglasses and the way you can fog them up with your breath. and that kind of steam that you can feel on your fingertips and see on the lens of your sunglasses. So I invite you to notice that kind of hissing sound in your ears as you inhale. And exhale, same thing, almost like a teapot steaming up. This is called ocean breath in Sanskrit. Ujjayi breath translates to English for ocean breath. And it's because of this ocean sound that we create to kind of keep us stapled to the breath and the present moment while we challenge our bodies with movement. So do with that what you will, take what you need, leave what you don't. I invite you to make your way to your feet.